There's a lot to do in Disney World and not a lot of time to do it in. So today we're going to talk about the 20 things you must do in Epcot. Epcot is Disney World's second theme park. It's got sort of a progress and edutainment theme with worlds themed around nature, discovery, celebration, and then the World Showcase, which is themed around countries of the world. Now, of course, there are a lot more than 20 things you can do here in Epcot, but we're going to focus on the 20 things you must do, things that we think should absolutely be a part of your plan some way or another. And our timing is great because number one is right here in front of us. If you're going to Epcot, there's no doubt that you'll spot the Epcot ball, or some people call it the giant golf ball, or as it's actually called, Spaceship Earth. Spaceship Earth is a slow-moving omni-mover attraction, so that means it stays moving. You load on a little conveyor belt, you unload on a conveyor belt. Has a very high capacity, so it typically has a very short wait time, and it takes you through the history of communication. So all the way from back when cavemen were fighting mammoths to the future. So yes, Spaceship Earth is certainly a must-do, absolute blast. Also great for a midday nap because it's a pretty lengthy attraction. Now, one thing I will say about Spaceship Earth is that it absolutely has the longest lines that you'll see all day in the morning and right when park hopping starts at 2 p.m. That's because it's the first attraction you see when you walk in the park. So a lot of people go straight to Spaceship Earth. I highly recommend waiting until a little later in the day to ride it, or not near those times, because it will become pretty much a walk-on. Every evening, even on busier days, it gets to be a much shorter line. So I recommend waiting and not riding it, even though it's the first thing you might pass. For must-do number two, we're going somewhere a little less flashy, but you should be heading here nonetheless. It's a must-do for a reason. This is Club Cool, and it's a merchandise location, but it's also a free sample location. Club Cool is the Coca-Cola spot here in Epcot. There's a lot of like Coca-Cola merch. You can get ice cream floats and sodas in here if you want. But the real attraction is going to be along this right wall over here, which is where you can try international Coca-Cola sodas from around the world in little cups for free. You can try as many as you want and get a sense of what some of the sodas from around the world taste like. So when it comes to must-dos in Epcot, when you're going to Club Cool, you should try all the sodas, frankly. My favorite is the cucumber Sprite, but the real must-do is to prank your friends and family by having them try Beverly. You can try it yourself if you want, but you should tell your friends and family that it's delicious. They have to try it. The Italian one, it's called Beverly. It is, for most people, absolutely horrendous. Ugh. Myself included. Whew. Probably one of the top 10 must-dos in all of Disney World. This is Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. This is the newest attraction here in Epcot, one of the newest in all of Disney World. It is an indoor roller coaster that is omnidirectional, so you spin in a full 360 degrees while you're on it. Not like spinning the whole time, but you can spin around. It's a Guardians of the Galaxy story where things go wrong on a little trip to Xandar, the planet, and you've got to help track down the cosmic generator. It is incredibly fun. A lot of people have said that this is the most fun roller coaster in Epcot, most fun ride in Disney World. Though it is not my favorite, it is probably the one that I like to ride the most, if that makes sense. One of the best parts about this ride is that it does actually have 6 different songs that you can get on the attraction. My favorite is Everybody Wants to Rule the World. A lot of people love September. I will just say be careful because this can be motion sickness inducing for some. So just a fair warning. I usually have an issue with motion sickness and I do not on this ride, but I know a lot of folks do. Our next must-do is Test Track. This is a pretty famous Epcot attraction. It is the fastest attraction in Disney World, going almost 70 miles per hour. And in it, you design your own simulation car and then take it out for a test drive. It's a pretty fun attraction, although I will say not one of my favorites. It typically has a very long line, and I won't say it's worth the wait unless you have a kid who really just wants to ride a fast ride. I do highly recommend the single rider entrance, but if you've never ridden it before, you're going to want to do standby so that you can design your own car. If you've never done Test Track before, you absolutely have to do it. This is a great one to head to first thing in the morning when the lines are still picking up, or last thing at night so that you don't have to wait quite as long and use up as much as your park day. It can also be a good idea to hang out in the area of Test Track if you see it go down, as if it comes back up and you're one of the first people to get in line, you could have a really short wait. One thing that I would not consider a must-do is walking in the rain, but it is what it is. Gotta show the must-dos. So I'm gonna walk in the rain for a sec. See you in a moment. Our next must-do might surprise you, but it is Journey into Imagination with Figment. Now, this is kind of a controversial one. Journey into Imagination with Figment is a pretty classic Epcot attraction, but it's gone through some changes. So originally it was Journey into Imagination, and it featured Figment and a character called the Dream Finder, which people really loved. Then they changed it to Journey into Your Imagination, which removed both characters and was pretty disliked. And then they updated it to be Journey into Imagination with Figment, bringing Figment the Purple Dragon back. So a lot of people still don't love the current iteration of the ride. I do. I find it very nostalgic because this is the iteration it's been for most of my life, but it's definitely a must-do. It typically has a pretty short wait. Again, this is another one that if you wait till later in the day, you'll probably get to wait 10 minutes or less. It's a journey into the Sense Labs with Dr. Nigel Channing. And Figment disrupts things, teaches you a little bit about the imagination, has a very catchy song. So definitely super fun. And it's a short ride with a short wait. So a must-do, classic, and who doesn't love some Figment? You might think that Magic Kingdom is the park to go to if you want character meet and greets, but don't count Epcot out. There are some incredibly rare character meet and greets here. You can meet people like Vanellope von Schweetz from Wreck-It Ralph, Joy from Inside Out, and you can also meet people like Alice, Mary Poppins, a lot of the princesses like Belle in her peasant outfit, Aurora, Mulan. There are tons of character meet and greets in Epcot. If you want to see them, you can go ahead and check out Fry's challenge, where she tried to meet as many characters as she could in one day. She did a pretty good job, and a lot of those meet and greets were in Epcot. So those are a great way to spend your time. And listen, I'm not much of a character meet and greet person, but some of these in Epcot are so cool that I like to do them. Also, my favorite Mickey meet and greet is here in Epcot because there's usually not a very long line to meet him, and he's in his classic red pants. So if you want to meet Mickey, I recommend meeting him here in Epcot. This is the Land Pavilion, and it is home to several must-dos. Basically, you're going to want to stop in here during your trip because it's kind of a hub of fun must-dos for sure. This one maybe isn't for everybody, but if you're going to do a table service reservation, it is a must-do. Garden Grill Restaurant is one of the most exciting table service meals here in Epcot, and that's because the restaurant itself does move, it rotates. And on top of that, it's a character meal where you can meet Mickey, Pluto, Chip, and Dale. It is family style, all you here to enjoy. They serve lunch and dinner, and it's on the pricey side because it is a character meal, but I absolutely love this one. This is my favorite character meal in Disney World. I think it is so cool that you get to actually rotate above the ride scenes from Living with the Land. The food is actually amazing, and a lot of the produce is actually grown in the land greenhouses that you'll see on Living with the Land. And it's great for families. Obviously, the characters are great for kiddos, but it's a character meal that isn't too loud and still has good food, so it's great for the parents too. The only restaurant that tends to rank higher is Le Cellier, which is the steakhouse over in the Canada Pavilion. That one's a great one, although a little less well-rounded for families and everything. Great steaks. There's a cheddar cheese soup that's amazing, so if you're looking for something a little more romantic or adult, Le Cellier might be a better option than Garden Grill. Speaking of Living with the Land, that's next on our must-do list, and boy is it crowded right now. Typically, Living with the Land is a 10-minute or shorter wait or a walk-on. I think because of some of the rain outside, it's gotten pretty busy, but I wouldn't wait more than 15 minutes for this. Right now, it's just a 15-minute wait. Living with the Land is a beloved attraction for many an Epcot fan. It is a slow-moving boat ride through the greenhouses of Epcot, and it teaches you a lot about historical agricultural techniques and also some of the more modern agricultural techniques that are being used. My favorite thing about it is that when you do ride through the greenhouses, you get to see a lot of really unique plants that you maybe haven't seen before, and maybe even some Mickey-shaped plants. And just across the way is our next must-do. Like I said, a lot of must-dos in here. This is Soarin' Around the World. Soarin' is a really unique attraction. It's a simulator attraction where you sit in seats that kind of feel like a porch swing to me, and then you lift up into the air like you're hang gliding and fly over iconic and beautiful locations in the world. My favorite thing about this ride is that it does have smells, so you can smell hibiscus at the Taj Mahal and grass when you fly over the elephants in Africa. It's a very relaxing ride, a very fun ride. It can be a little iffy if you're afraid of heights, but I think it is worth a try if you aren't super afraid of heights, because it can be very beautiful and fun. Now, unlike the other rides listed, Soarin' can actually get a very long wait. Right now it's 15 minutes, which isn't super bad, but this is a good one to use Lightning Lane if you have Genie Plus. It's also a great one to ride first thing if you're not riding Test Track or Remy's Ratatouille Adventure or Frozen. This is kind of like a second tier to those. So I just got soaking wet walking over here, but now it's sunny. What's happening? All right, we have made it to the other half of Epcot, which is World Showcase, and we are in the Mexico Pavilion to talk about the first must-do in World Showcase, which is eat or drink around the world. This is a very famous Epcot activity, and drinking around the world might be the more famous one, but a lot of people can't partake in drinking around the world. So we definitely want to talk about eating around the world, which everybody can do, and it can mean that you get to try a lot of foods from a lot of different cultures. You can see us drink all the way around the world in our Drink Around the World video, and if you'd like to see us eat around the world, go ahead and let us know in the comments. We can definitely snack around the world to see what some of the most interesting things you can eat here in Epcot are. Speaking of eating and drinking around the world, one of our favorite stops in all of Epcot, and a must-do if you are going to stop at one of these walk-up bars, is the Cava del Tequila. Their drinks are fantastic, and they have really, really amazing chips and queso as well if you sit inside at one of the tables. It's a super intimate location. It's definitely something that kind of does not feel like it's in a theme park, and certainly worth doing. It's one of my favorite bars in all of Disney World, and with good reason. And that's going to take us to another must-do, which is here at Grand Fiesta Tour. It's got a bit of a long line right now, but this is another of those little slow-moving boat rides. It is a tour through Mexico with the 3 caballeros. Well, with 2 of the caballeros as they look for Donald, who's gone missing. It's a very fun ride. It's one that's very loved by many. I think it should be rethemed to Coco, and I get yelled at about that regularly, but this is a great one to come in here and escape from the heat. Even when the line is long, it's not that long of a wait. So definitely Grand Fiesta Tour is a must-do. Moving on into Norway, shout out to Royal Sommerhus, which is where you can meet Anna and Elsa, one of those awesome meet and greets here, and the only place you can meet Anna and Elsa in Disney World right now. But Norway is going to hold a couple other must-dos for us as well. Now, just because these are Epcot must-dos doesn't mean they are must-dos all in the same trip. It can be hard to fit in a lot of table service reservations, but there is one here that I think should be a must-do at some point, even if it's not your first time at Epcot. Akershus Royal Banquet Hall serves Princess Storybook Dining, which is a really amazing character meal where you dine in a Norwegian castle and get to meet a lot of Disney princesses during your meal. The food is pretty good and the character interactions are awesome. It's also a little cheaper and easier to get into than Cinderella's Royal Table and Cinderella Castle. So if you don't mind giving up on eating in the castle, this can be a great option when it comes to a princess meal if you've got princess-loving kiddos. Speaking of princesses and Anna and Elsa, no visit to Epcot is complete without a ride on Frozen Ever After. This is one of the most popular rides in the park, as you can see from that 95-minute wait right now. It's a very fun boat ride that takes you through an original story after the events of the Frozen movie, where you are going to visit Elsa's Ice Palace. I absolutely love the animatronics in this. I think they are so amazing. I find this ride super magical, and it makes me feel like a little kid again, just seeing Anna, Elsa, Olaf, and Kristoff. And it's a redo of what used to be one of my favorite rides, which was Maelstrom. And it still has some nods to that attraction. So I absolutely love Frozen Ever After. Highly, highly, highly recommend, especially if you love Frozen, if your kids love Frozen. Who doesn't love Frozen? We all do. So Frozen Ever After. We are here at the China Pavilion now to talk about our next must-do, which is to watch a movie. I know, weird thing to do during a theme park day, but there are some really cool movies here in Epcot. A couple of them are Circle Vision 360 films, which means the screen wraps all the way around the entire room. There's one here, Reflections of China, and there's one in Canada at Canada Far and Wide. Other film options include Awesome Planet in the Land Pavilion and the Beauty and the Beast Sing-Along, which is one that a lot of people really like. But seeing a movie can be a great way to get some air conditioning, take a breather, especially because a lot of people call Epcot every person comes out tired, and that's because you do a lot of walking here. So taking breaks is really important. Watching movies is a great way to do that. Remember I said the thing about trying international foods? I just bought these chips that I think are chicken wing flavored. I don't know. I'm excited about them. Definitely chicken wing flavor. This next must-do might just be our biggest of the whole list, in my opinion. I think rides are maybe a little higher, but our biggest non-ride must-do has to be enjoying Epcot Festival. Epcot has 4 festivals a year. They run for most of the year. There are only a few weeks between each festival that there's no festival going on, which, pro tip, great time to come if you want absolutely no crowds. But the festivals are Festival of the Arts, Flower and Garden Festival, Food and Wine Festival, and the Festival of the Holidays. Right now while I'm filming this, the Flower and Garden Festival is going on, which is the spring and early summer festival. But yeah, the festivals have musical acts, like you can see here on the stages, Garden Rocks during Flower and Garden. And then there are booths that have festival food all around the festival. Flower and Garden in particular, they have gardens and things like that. But you can find a lot of live entertainment and really interesting things at all 4 festivals. Definitely enjoy the festival offerings. Each festival has something called a festival passport, which you can pick up at the front of the park or at any of the festival booths that will tell you about everything the festival has to offer. There's stuff for everybody in the family, including little kiddos. Usually a fun scavenger hunt is involved. Definitely experience an Epcot festival. Speaking of things that are good for kiddos to do, and actually the whole family, you should try out the DuckTales World Showcase Adventure. This is our next must-do. This is one that a lot of people overlook. It's a virtual game that you can play on your phone with the Play Disney Parks app, where you help characters from DuckTales accomplish goals around the World Showcase. It is super fun, and it can be super magical to actually feel like you're helping out the characters. The best part about it, when you help the characters in certain areas like Mexico, you will see actual actions happen in your physical environment. You might see Donald pop up. It's really awesome. So the DuckTales World Showcase Adventure is a great one to check out as well. All around Epcot, you'll see different stages, but in general, Epcot is a great place for live entertainment, whether it's on a stage or just on the street right next to you. Some of my favorite live entertainment includes Mariachi Cobre over in the Mexico Pavilion. I love when Morocco has the belly dancers. Sergio the Mime's amazing in Italy, and of course those festival bands always bring the house down. So live entertainment is a must on your Epcot day. As Sage likes to say, hashtag live entertainment is important. So make sure you're stopping and checking out those acts, whether you're making them part of your day or just resolving to stop and take a look if you see some live entertainment happening nearby. Epcot is one of the best parks for seeing live performance, so highly recommend. The France Pavilion is one of the most popular World Showcase pavilions. To learn more about all the World Showcase pavilions, you can check out the video where Sage and I ranked them all and talked about why they are ranked where they are. But France is an extremely popular one. It's one of the largest pavilions with the most to offer, food-wise and attractions-wise. And one of those attractions is going to be our next must-do. The France Pavilion recently got an extension, adding a new restaurant, Le Crêperie de Paris, including a to-go window, and a whole new attraction, Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, which is going to be our next must-do. Now, Remy's Ratatouille Adventure is a trackless dark ride, so the car is not on a track. It drives around all by itself. It's the same as the one that was in Disneyland Paris, and they've brought it over here. It's a very fun ride that shrinks you down to the size of a rat, and you run through some iconic locations from Ratatouille. It's pretty fun. I will say it still has pretty long lines usually because it is a newer attraction, and I don't know that it's worth the long line if you've ridden it before. But if you haven't ridden it, give it a ride. It's super fun, it's super cute, and it's fun for the whole family. Our last but certainly not least must-do is going to be how you want to end your day in Epcot. At night, if you turn your attention out to World Showcase Lagoon, you will see a nighttime spectacular with fireworks, sometimes fountains, and more. It's amazing, the music is amazing, and I love an Epcot nighttime spectacular. I just think they hit different. So there is no better way to end your day in Epcot. At the time of filming, the nighttime spectacular that you can see is Epcot Forever, but in late 2023, that will be switching over to a new show. So you will certainly see all the updates about that over on AllEars.net and here on the AllEars.net YouTube channel. So keep an eye out for that. But fireworks are the best way to end your day at Epcot, and certainly a must-do. And that does it for a quick rundown of the 20 must-dos in Epcot. If you like this video, go ahead and like and subscribe. And now if you want to see more of Epcot, go check out our perfect day in Epcot. We'll see you there. Bye!